Welcome to the Mentor Studio, where today's thought leaders and leading entrepreneurs inspire and bring real-world ideas that help you take your career to levels you've only dreamed of. Now buckle in. Here's your host, Michael Silvers.
All right. Welcome to the Mentor Studio. This is Michael Silvers. I am so excited to have our guest on today, Lloyd. She's, just an amazing speaker. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about her intro because I think it's good to get to know the people that are going to be on. And then I'm going to just ask her some questions. We're going to talk back and forth. And, really, again, it's part of being a community because at the Mentor Studio, we're a community to serve the underserved. We're going to take a world tour in 2022. It was going to be 2021, but little thing called COVID just delayed us a little bit. It's about helping your community. And if you want more information about us, you just go to thementorstudio.com. Just go to thementorstudio.com. We also are on Facebook. We have actually an open complimentary group if you'd like to join us there. And you can find more information on our site. And if you need anything more, you can also do a text opt-in. If you're in the United States, you can text opt-in to text TMS, that's the Mentor Studio, TMS to 26786. That's TMS to 26786. If you need a direct link, just go to the Mentor Studio page and we'll be putting everything on there. All right. Lloyd is a life-changing catalyst for breaking the chains of your history. She is uniquely skilled at helping individuals, usually but not exclusively women, heal the wounds behind their protective masks. These wounds generally originate in childhood and when not healed are the boulders inhibiting progress achieving goals. She provides the tools as a speaker, author, facilitator, and personal catalyst to obliterate obstacles by smashing them into smithereens. Then, using the 7 pillars of a happy and successful life, her clients create their unique definition of success, which is the foundation on which to build their future as they turn their dreams into a reality. They overcome being overwhelmed as they embrace the individual they always knew they could become. Whether speaking to an audience of 10, 100, 1,000 or more, there is a magical heart-to-heart connection she brings to the stage. She is the creator of the Momentum Planner, the author of the 7 Pillars of a Happy and Successful Life, and frequently featured contributor to Illuminations writing about self-improvement. Without any further ado, hey, Ada, how are you?
I'm terrific and delighted to be here with you, Michael.
Oh, it's great to have you. You actually have also a large following on, you've got a pretty large Facebook group that's pretty interactive.
Yeah, it's Fearless Women Entrepreneurs Connect, Empower, Make an Impact. And it's just designed to, we talk about we being the sum total, if you will, of the 5 people we hang out with the most. And so many women have dreams, but they don't have people in their lives that support those dreams. That's what this group is about. It's about supporting women's dreams and encouraging them and giving them the tools to go for it.
It's just great because it's always great to know we're part of a community and we're part of something more or something bigger than ourselves, because there is that tendency of I can do it myself or I'm all alone, right? There's both sides to it. And I think it's so empowering to have that community, and that community that you're driving is just my hat's off to you. So, what got you into this career? What brought you to where you are today?
It's all about my story and my history, Michael, because as a child, I was sexually abused growing up. At a time, nobody talked about it. It wasn't on the public radar. There were no tools. And so I was very fortunate in that I figured out how to leave home at an early age. I got myself on a college campus 1 month after my 16th birthday. And then a few years later, I had a life-altering epiphany that said, you're not responsible for your father's choices, but you are responsible for how you allow them to impact your life. At that point, I jumped into the self-help arena and just have never left, whether as a student or a contributor. I created my own path to hope and to healing, and then had an obligation to help others that did not yet know that path was there.
Right. I love that because it's the fulfillment sometimes of ourself, but it's the service and being there for others that is the whole reason we're here. right? It's the whole reason that we do what we do. And, to get to where you were, there's always that part of us and we used to talk about this all the time, the great book you read, right? Either the great book or the article or the book that keeps you sort of moving forward. But nowadays it's different because we'll say to especially audiences that are younger, what's a great podcast you're listening to, or what's the YouTube channel you're following? But what was a great book or catalyst that helped move you forward, or something that you still read today? We know, like in the business world, we always hear Think and Grow Rich, right? in the business world, there's the things standards you always hear, but in the world you play and live in, what is that book? And maybe you still read it today or reread it, or again, what did you listen to? What keeps you going? It's
a variety of things. Part of it is spiritual scriptures. Mm-hmm. Part of it, I came across a book probably, 20 plus years ago that I had never heard of. A friend told me about it. It's by Mamie McCullough, and it's If I Can, You Can Too. And she was the daughter of white sharecroppers, which is really, the ultimate poverty in the South. Against all odds, and it's a great story. She winds up in college, doesn't believe she should be there, but with support of a few people, she manages to stay. She goes back to her roots, begins teaching, and she got so tired of hearing kids say, I can't. Mm-hmm. So she cut eyes out of magazines, told them to bring a can to school. Some of them brought a Vienna sausage can. Some of the smart aleck guys brought a garbage can. It didn't matter. She gave him an eye, told him to tape the eye on the can, and until they could show her an I can't, they had an I can, and that's all she wanted to hear. She changed the culture of a classroom. She changed the culture of a school. And she went on to be a motivational speaker. I love that story because it's about our capacity as human beings to change. It doesn't matter where we come from. It doesn't matter what our history is. That doesn't determine our future. We do with the choices we make today. Mm-hmm. And that's where my heart is.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you also said about the spiritual side, because, audience, we talk about everything. So I think, because for me, and I've been pretty self-evident about it. I mean, I'm in church every day. And if nothing else, I do go to mass almost every day, but I also, because I sit there and pray and I sit there and I realize at times I can't always do this myself. And for me, and reaching the higher connection, the power, whatever religion you're in, it didn't for me really connect until I was like 48. So it was later in my life that this really became a big part of it. And I think that we're looking for a community, right? We're looking for those around who can empower us. And there's also these other sides that whether you meditate or you pray or whatever that is, how is that in your life? How do you ground yourself? How do you stay grounded? How do you move through the days where those days? What is like your routine for the day? What keeps you going?
I start with a morning routine. And part of that, I created the Momentum Planner. I think I've showed that to you, several years ago. And it starts with inspiration. And there's a quote at the beginning of every day. I've gathered over 3,000 of them over the years. I love them. What can I say? I had to choose 100 to put in the book. But they come from all walks of life. I start with that. And then I focus on gratitude. What am I grateful for today? Well, I'm not a chronic insomniac, so it can't be a good night's sleep. Right. It has to be more specific than that. And then there's an action plan of 1 to 3 specific things I'm going to do today. Those are core principles I teach to everyone. As a part of my personal morning routine, above and beyond that, I read scriptures every morning. Okay. I read a chapter. I pray every morning. When I talk about that epiphany that I had, to me, that was actually personal revelation. that's not a phrase that necessarily resonates with everybody, but that is what it is for me. As I built the 7 pillars of a happy and successful life as a part of my end road on the healing of where I was at, the final piece in that was spiritual. And it was understanding some things about my relationship with Christ and what he did for me. Mm-hmm. And that was the final piece of my saying, okay, we're not going to forget the lessons that we've learned, but he not only died for my sins, he died for my pain. And if I insist on holding on to anger or hurt or pain or anything else, anything that's negative, I'm effectively throwing his atonement back in his face and saying, it's not enough. I have to suffer. And the arrogance of that broke my heart. And it changed me. Some people can relate to that story because of where they're at.
Right.
Other people can't. I use it when it feels appropriate. I don't use it when I feel like it might create a barrier because somebody's not in that place.
Right.
It's about being respectful of the client.
That's right.
But still acknowledging who I am and how I got where I am.
Right. Which I think is important because this comes up all the time in the personal development world. There was a long time where you whether you're religious or whether you believe in God or don't believe in God or a higher power or spirituality. But there was a time in the world that I entered later in my life, you didn't talk about things like that from stage. I mean, you couldn't even say. And so when I first went on and did these events, and sometimes I would say, I just want to let everybody know I was almost late today because mass ran a little late. And it took the team a little bit to go, I guess it's okay. He says that, right? It's not and I would sometimes tell my story, I was Jewish. And now I was Christian, then I'm Catholic, and I just walked a journey. There's a journey in there, but my family were Buddhists. I've got it all mixed in there somewhere. So to me, there was never what do you mean you can't say something like that from stage? I'm not saying I'm better or worse. I'm telling you, and for me, it's part of my grounding. It's part of, for my wife and I, when we started this business, we didn't have that as much. And I feel so much more grounded now, but that's my story. Right.
And that's a part of your authenticity.
Yeah, there you go.
And, we talk about authenticity, and we have a lot of people that sort of pound the podium, if you will, with how authentic they are, which to me essentially says you're being fake. Mm-hmm. But we are who we are. And if we want to maximize the power that we have to impact somebody else, we have to be willing to share with them the heartache, the bumps, the detours, how we got to where we are, mm-hmm. and why they should trust us, because we're farther down the journey and we can hold up a light so that they know where they're headed.
That's right. I'd rather have you and me, right? Or I'll say it from myself, my own perspective. I'd rather walk up and say, the honesty is there's days I'm broken, right? There's parts of me that are broken. There's parts of me that are thriving. There's parts of me. Sometimes I want to help other people. Sometimes I just want it for myself, right? But what you said about being authentic in that.
Yeah.
And not having to always be the rah, everything's great, everything's because is it?
There's Stephen Covey said, we're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, if I remember the quote correctly. But I think the fact is, no matter how much somebody else might want to put you or me or somebody else on a pedestal, we're all human.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about your diverse religious background and being different, Because one of the things that I really try to say is there's not a right and there's not a wrong. There's just simply different. And what you need is what's right for you. And if what's right for me is different, that's perfectly fine. We're different people. We're unique individuals. It doesn't need to be the same right for both of us. It doesn't make one of us right and one of us wrong. It simply makes us different as the result of the experiences we've had and the perspective that has developed as a result of those experiences. And we can learn from our differences.
I think that's, like in radio, you're never supposed to have pauses. You're not supposed to do much of a podcast, but that's a pause moment. It is. And I think that's, so if I'm a listener listening to this today, driving in my car, because people are back on the road, right? LA is back to 117%, they said, and I'm up in Seattle and we're up to almost 100% already. So if I'm listening to this driving in my car at home, vacuuming the carpets, whatever people do when they listen to podcasts, what are 3 things that I could do this week that could just either help me move forward, reach a deeper place, work on things that are going on in my life? What would you recommend?
The first thing I would recommend is to take the time to know what really matters to you. Mm-hmm. There are 7 pillars of a happy and successful life. That's something I write about a lot. Mm-hmm. Personal, physical, emotional, spiritual, professional, financial, and relationships. Know what matters in all of those areas. Create a foundation on which to build. Tie your goals to that foundation. I have an ongoing fight with a lot of the goal setting gurus because they'll say, set a goal, do yada, 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 and you'll get your goal. Well, my analogy is you're building your dream house and you found the perfect lot, the perfect view, perfect neighborhood. The architect has drawn the perfect plans, groundbreaking. You're there, you're talking to the construction foreman and you say, I'm so thrilled with what's happening. But what I love most is my master bedroom that's going to be on the 2nd floor. It overlooks this incredible vista. Can you start with that? Well, while he's rolling on the floor laughing, because without a first floor and a foundation, not going to happen.
Right.
And yet that's so often how we set goals. Mm-hmm. Tie them to a foundation that is really who you are and what matters the most to you. Then make a commitment to yourself that you will do one thing every day at a minimum that will move you forward towards a goal. And then every night be accountable for how you kept that commitment.
I love it. I love it. It's such a great, and if, because you're a mentor at the Mentor Studio. And I love that you're on every call. You're committed to be there, whatever it takes, whatever the time is. Because the goal is, for all of us, like sort of what you just said, it's creating those habits, but realizing too, it's not about us. And I also find too, is on the days that I just don't feel like, right. And I find if I do something for somebody else, it wakes me up spiritually. It gets me going. Talk a little bit about that.
It's magical. It's when we step outside of ourselves, we're no longer focused on everything that's wrong in our life today. Mm-hmm. Going back about 12 years ago, and it was after I really felt like, not that the road was over, but I had gotten to a place where my healing was complete at that point and all of those sorts of things. I went through a period of time where I was really broken again. And I was crying out to God saying, why? Mm-hmm. Why? And I had always known that part of the why was so I could help other people. I had known that for years, but it was why. And the question was, why weren't you there? Why didn't you stop this? And I had also known for a period of time at that point that he wasn't going to bar my father from exercising his agency to make a lousy choice to protect me. We each have the right to make our choices. We will ultimately be accountable for them.
Mm-hmm.
But so I'm still saying why.
Right.
And my specific question was, why weren't you there? And then in a very soft, quiet voice, I heard, but I was there. I kept you from getting pregnant. That was the biggest fear and horror of all at the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Was that I would wind up pregnant. My conviction, my testimony is that we are broken. We have tools that we have learned. We have tools that other people, you, me, others that do what we do, can teach so that somebody can increase their quiver of full of tools that they have to draw on. But there's an ultimate tool, which for me is my relationship with God. And when everything else, I believe that he expects me to do my part. It's not just saying, oh, I can't figure this out on the computer. Father, what do I do about this? No.
Right.
It's that I need to do my part. But when I have done that, he will do his part in his time, in his way. And my faith is to trust that he has a love for me that is beyond my understanding, and his time and his way is better than mine.
Mm-hmm.
Some days it's easier to accept that than others.
Right. That's right. No, it is true. Because this is a bigger picture, even for another day, with let alone the subject you talked about, which is, it's the patients, being a nurse. Why am I dying? Why is my cancer not treatable? And they recovered from like pancreatic cancer, which is supposedly only 3% survival. All those questions that come up. Why was it me? Why not my sister or brother? Whatever that is. It's a conversation definitely for another day when we have more time. I think that's, that we'll definitely have you back. I think especially maybe towards the holidays, because that's a hard time for people.
Yeah. I'm very passionate about Mother's Day, and let me tell you why. I post about this. I've talked in churches about this. Mother's Day is either the most joyful or the most heartbreaking day of the year. Mm-hmm. For those who have had that mother that the poets wrote about, whose children have a wonderful relationship with them, it is a joyful day. Right. For those who lost a mother to death, to abandonment, to abuse, to whatever thing, to those who have not been able to have children for whatever reason, or whose children have strayed from the path of family togetherness, it is an incredibly painful day.
Yeah.
So I like to focus on mothering, because we have all been mothered by people we don't share biology with. We all have the opportunity to mother. Even guys have the opportunity to mother, when we make it a verb. People that they don't share biology with.
Right.
So I would like to celebrate Mothering Day.
Oh, let's do that. I love it. Because actually, I'm very maternal. I have a very maternal side. So, I like that. That's fantastic. Mothering Day. Okay, we're gonna start that. That's awesome. But I wanted to thank you for being here today. First of all, if they want to reach out to if somebody wants to reach out to explore more what you do, or even your group, what's the best way to contact you?
Just simply adalloyd.com, or email me at ada@adalloyd.com. And that's ADALLOYD.
There you go. I was going to ask that.
Pretty straightforward.
I know. So let me tell you, the name, I always say silver with an S because they never get it right. So, and I spell it out.
Yeah, the two L's are together. People know it has two L's, but they try to move one of them someplace else.
I know they do. It's amazing. Well, thank you so much for today. And, it's been great. You're such a great part of the Mentor Studio community. And for those of you listening to this, we are looking for more mentors. Obviously you can be a member. We love to have you, but we are looking for more mentors at the Mentor Studio. We have brilliants like Ada today, and they work together. They play together. We talk together. We're going to travel together. We're going to really make a difference in the world, and they're doing it on their own. So Ada, thank you so much again for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Michael. It's been an absolute delight.
You're welcome. It's a delight of ours. So this is Michael Silvers from the Mentor Studio. If you want to know more, it's very simple. Go to thementorstudio.com. If you want to be part of our opt-in so we can really, touch you deeper, and that will also send you to our different pieces of social media. No, it's not going to hit you 55 times. It's a stream of like 4 just to get you the different, then we're done with you. You can just, and this is if you're in the US, you can just text TMS, the Mentor Studio, TMS to 26786, TMS to 26786. And we'd love to just connect with you, let you know who you are. You can reach out. That will give you my links for Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find us on Facebook. And we'd love to have you here. So Ada, you've been brilliant. Mentor Studio audience, you're amazing, whether it's morning, evening, night, morning, evening, or night. Boy, it's been that kind of day. Morning, afternoon, or evening. Have a great day, everybody. You're worldwide. We love you all. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
We're honored that you invested time with us today at the Mentor Studio. Now, don't be greedy. Share this knowledge bomb with all your dope peeps on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. Actually, we'll even pay you to do it. To get the deets, please check out thementorstudio.com.